Welcome to another edition of Hey Bobby with Vice President with the Cleveland Indians, Bobby DiBiasio, here on 93.5, 1590 WAKR, brought to you by our good friends at NECA-IBEW. And Bobby, let's start off talking about the resilience of this baseball team. I mean, injuries, and we saw them again on Sunday, but then they come out Monday and they batter 19 hits. And, you know, it starts at the guy at the top. I know you have the utmost respect for our Hall of Fame manager, but let's talk about this team. It all starts at the top, and you can even go higher if you want, but talk about how you look at this squad.
Well, you're absolutely right, Ray, that, it does start at the top. And I'll even go even further. It starts with ownership. And I know a lot of people might roll their eyes when I say that, because there's some craziness when it comes to people's view of the ownership of the Cleveland Indians. I just truly wish they would understand that the stability and continuity and the culture that is created begins with ownership. And the fact that Chris Antonetti's been here, 20 plus years, and Mr. Chernoff, approaching that, and identifying Tito as the guy who should lead us forward, and what Tito does on an everyday basis, bringing stability when things go a little rocky, little sideways on you. It's a testament to our coaching staff. And it's also, again, it's a testament to the player development department, in the sense that we identify young athletes that are willing to fight through things, that always look to move forward and don't wallow in self-pity and things of that nature. And that's all by design. And so it truly is a team effort, and it starts at the top. And we're blessed that in that dugout, in that clubhouse, we have a man like Tito that can be a calming influence when things start to turn sideways on you. And that was really a nice effort last night. That team could have easily just decided, we feel sorry for ourselves. Tonight's not the night. We're thinking about our buddy Josh Naylor, who can't be with us, and your head's somewhere else. But obviously that didn't happen. Tito's mantra about all you have to do is be one run better than the guy you play today. It really is part of the DNA of every ball club that he's managed here at the Cleveland Indians.
Bobby, I go back to one of the very first press conferences with Tito when he signed with Cleveland. I remember some reporters said, so, you come from Boston, you had many choices, why did you come to Cleveland? And his answer right away was, hey, I didn't come here to die. I came here to win baseball games, and I love this organization. And I always bring that up because that really stood out to me, where so many people said, hey, you came from Boston, why are you going to Cleveland? Because, one, he liked the organization. He had a great relationship with Chris Antonetti and company, and he loved what we're doing here, and they've continued to roll along and win.
Absolutely. He's been a major factor in that, again, bringing authenticity, a credibility to our ball club immediately. When he walked into that clubhouse, players stand up and notice when you have a leader like that, who's been through it all and has dealt with all different types of personalities. We've talked about it many times. What makes him special is, the fact that he is authentic, he's genuine, he embraces individuality of the players, and he understands leadership. The key to leadership is truly service to others. So when you have that as your foundation, you're consistent, you have a stability to yourself and to your approach. Our coaching staff has pretty much been the same throughout, Tito's tenure. That means a lot. Guys go through a lot of different things during a baseball season. And when you've been able to go through those things, all different kinds of things, all different sets of emotions, you come out on the better end of it because you've been able to go through it together, and you're not just dismissing somebody and bringing somebody else in on a whim. That we're blessed. How many times we've talked about it and stated it. We're blessed to have Tito as our skipper.
Vice President with the Cleveland Indians, Bobby DiBiasio, with us. It's called Hey Bobby, brought to you by NECA-IBEW. Bobby, you and I were talking this week about your most popular Cleveland Indian when you were growing up, and it was Rocky Colavito. And I started to think last night, so what about some of the most popular Indians? And you in the front office, you hear from the fans, you know who they like, you see the jerseys. I mean, I automatically thought, like, for example, I told you this in the past, as a kid, my favorite Indian was Buddy Bell. And then the next generations were the Rick Mannings. And then you had the Jim Tomes and the Omar Vizquels and, that company, CC Sabathia. A viewpoint from Indians management or what you've seen, some of the most popular Indians that you've seen in Indian history?
Well, if you go all the way back, and you just read up on Indians history, or you've had a time to chat with some baseball historians from many decades ago, I would always quiz Bob August, the great writer for the Cleveland Press, columnist, Hal Lebovitz of the Plain Dealer, and Harry Jones, who thankfully hired me when he ended his career as PR man for the Indians back in the late 70s. Guys like Tris Speaker, I mean, you think about it, he was the player manager for the 1920 World Champion Indians, was an incredibly popular player, was a star in Boston, and then came to Cleveland and took them to a World Series title. Guys like Mel Harder, who spent 36 straight years in a Indians uniform, was really a fan favorite, made Cleveland his home, lived out in Chardon, a Nebraska native, but made Cleveland his home. Then you think about, okay, the period of time when we were pretty darn good, the Al Rosens and the Larry Dobies and the Bob Fellers and Lou Boudreaux. So that period of time, there were some incredibly popular players, even guys like Jim Hegan and Bob Lemon, early when, those stalwart teams of the 40s and 50s. Then you move to Rocky, really was the savior of baseball in the 60s. Anybody my age, my generation, Rocky's the man. August 10th, he will turn 88. We will have a statue unveiling ceremony at Tony Brush Park in Little Italy on Mayfield Road in Cleveland. And it's really going to be a wonderful day. Rocky plans on being there, obviously, with his health issues. But we're all planning on him to obviously be there for the unveiling ceremony. Then you go into, 70s, as you said, with Buddy Bell, Dwayne Kuiper. I think Captain Kuip was as popular as most any player in Indians history. You go to the late 70s, you got your Joe Charbonneau as Rookie of the Year in 1980. And, he burst onto the scene pretty wild. Joe Carter, Corey Snyder era, those guys were pretty fun. And then, damn, the whole roster of the 90s guys, Sandy and Carlos and Kenny and Omar, Charlie, Albert, Manny. I mean, I know I'm missing guys, but they really took over the town and became fan favorites. But you know what, Ray? When we talk about that, the one guy who I think whenever he is brought back to town, certainly when he was in uniform, when he came back and played for us late in his career, Kenny Lofton. When he came back to us, now I can't remember exactly what year. He played 10, 11 plus years for us. And then he played 1 year for like 7, 8, 9 teams in a row. And then we were one of those. He came back, had an incredibly long career. That every at bat, he got a standing ovation. I mean, every at bat, his first time back, to fans showing their love for him. Omar as well. Just those special talents, those dynamic, electric athletes. And to this day, they're revered, obviously, because that was such a remarkable time. Today, I think Jose Ramirez is the guy. And when you look back and you think about Kenny and Omar and Jose Ramirez, it's little guys. It doesn't have to be your 6'5", 280-pound outfielder that can mash the ball or be a big Jim Thome kind of guy that, powered the ball, who was a fan favorite, obviously, as well. But those little guys that maybe the fans can, just have a little bit more connection to, because their size doesn't put them out of reach of the normal fan and or whatever it is, but they were just dynamic. So we've had so many, obviously, in our 120 plus year history. I'm sure I'm leaving off a whole bunch. But that's what makes the baseball the great game it is the different personalities that come through and wear that uniform and are proud to do so.
I couldn't wait. I remember my members, you mentioned big guys. My very first second game I went to at the stadium, I couldn't wait to get there because I mentioned I was a big Buddy Bell fan. I was in the center field. Remember the old picnic area we used to have in center field? And I was walking around the picnic area and the big fella came over to me. I may have told you this story. And he came over to me, grabbed my glove, and he says, "You want me to sign this, young man?" And I said, "Yeah, who are you?" And it was Luke Easter.
Oh, my goodness.
And he signed my glove for me. And I didn't, to be honest, I didn't know who he was. I was there to see Buddy Bell and the Indians that day. And I remember going home and going to the library at that time because there was no internet and looking up who Luke Easter was because he was before my time. But he seemed to me like he was just, we talk about Franmil Reyes being the teddy bear. He seemed to me like he was the teddy bear of that era. Big, just kind man.
Longest home run hit in the history of Cleveland Stadium. I think it was 477 in the upper deck in right field, maybe section 1, 2, or 3, somewhere in there. And we used to have a seat, as a sea of yellow seats, and we had one red seat, and people would try stealing it every now and then. But, the luscious Lucius Easter was the bomber, man. He's left-handed hitter that could just power a ball like nobody's business.
I remember his hands, Bobby. His hands were gigantic as he took my glove from me.
And he played, minor league ball, Buffalo, at the end of his career. Just wanted to just keep swinging and doing his thing, and had the honor of getting to know him when I first started with the Indians. He was working for a company in Cleveland, and in his sad death, he was, I don't know if you know about this, Ray, but he was walking out of a bank with the company that he worked for, with the payroll. Back then companies would go into banks and grab the payroll, cash, and walk out and bring it to the company, and guys would line up on a Friday and get their money, and that's how the payroll went. And sadly, somebody tried robbing Luke and shot him and killed him outside the bank. Yeah, just a horrible ending to a wonderfully gentle man. This past All-Star game, we honored Luke. Many years ago, we honored Luke with naming ballpark a park after him, Luke Easter Park, in Cleveland, in the inner city in Cleveland, and have had many RBI programs, Youth Baseball Academy clinics and leagues at Luke Easter Park. And then we renovated it this past All-Star break. And it's a park that in his honor and tribute, we keep kids playing baseball in his memory.
With us is Bobby DiBiasio. Hey, Bobby, brought to you by NECA-IBEW. Bobby, let's talk about the homestand. We got Detroit and then a good Houston Astro team. coming in this weekend. So we can talk a little bit about those games, certainly what's ahead for us with the weekend with fireworks and everything. But I wanted to ask you, with you at the stadium, such since full capacity now with the stadium, how's the crowd doing coming back to Progressive Field?
They're going, it's funny, just reverting back, during the week here so far, getting our 13, 15,000 during the week, and then it balloons. Hopefully this holiday weekend, advance sales are pretty good, but certainly many tickets remain for a July 4th holiday weekend at the ballpark. We know people's spending habits are sometimes last minute. So yes, you can still go to Indians.com and grab tickets. It's obviously a promotion filled weekend with the Houston Astros. Former tribesman Michael Brantley coming back. He's having a good season. Houston's been playing good baseball. Be a good test for us. We'll figure out who's pitching those games here soon, shortly. It's just another one of the things that, another hurdle, another curveball that's thrown at us that we try to hit out of the park. Then we go to Tampa and we come home for 4 against Kansas City. And then, believe it or not, it's the All-Star break already. And but a big weekend. We have 2 more here against the Tigers, and then a big weekend with Houston. And again, Indians.com is the place to go to check out all the great promotions. Obviously, the Sugardale Dollar Dogs and the fireworks and jersey giveaway and bobbleheads, etc., all weekend long. So lots going on at the ballpark this weekend.
All right, my friend, go to the ballpark and enjoy the Indians, and we'll reconnect next week. Hey, Bobby, brought to you by NECA-IBEW with Vice President of the Cleveland Indians, Bobby DiBiasio. My friend, thanks for the time and the visit. I always appreciate it.
Thank you, Ray, for having me. Always fun, buddy. Go Tribe.